Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over the NBA games for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. I'm going to show you highlights of both sides, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for whatever reason you're curious to know who I'm picking, you'll have to join my Patreon where my picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the description of this video. I wish you guys the best of luck in your picks today. Let's go ahead and get into today's games. I got the Celtics and the Nets, game 5. Blazers and the Nuggets, game 5. And Lakers and the Suns, game 5. Have my daily numbers on this side, date numerology, Gregorian, and the Hebrew calendar. And then on this side, I have what I call my game numbers. Away team up top, their season record, their postseason record, their coach's record. Head to head in the middle between the two teams. Home team at the bottom, their season record, their postseason record, their coach's record. And then up top here, I just have the series, game 5. Nets are currently leading the series. It could become a 4-1 for the Nets, which would finish off the series, or 3-2 with the Celtics win. This is the 33rd game, or the 33rd playoff game for the NBA playoffs this season. The reason why I have it marked in gray is because today has 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. 28 sums to 156 and 141. Just like 33 sums to 156 and 141. So the 33rd game to start off the NBA for the day. Celtics have a lot of 39s. They had a lot of 39 connections in their last game and it didn't go. Have a lot of 39s in this game as well. So if Celtics were to try and get this series to 3-2, like 32, I would base it basically off of it being the 39th home game for the Nets, 39th away game for the Celtics. Celtics would become 39-39 for a season record, as their coach gets his 393rd all-time win for his career. He would also become 39-39 postseason. His postseason record is identical to the Celtics' current season record. So anything that the Celtics do happens to him postseason as well. Celtics coach, he would sit on 321 losses with the win. And today is the 21st day of the 3rd month on the Hebrew religious, like 213, 321 anagrams of each other. It's also the a day leaving 213 left on the Gregorian. So I would imagine that would be why if Celtics were to get this win or to steal this win, make the series go 3-2, 2-3. Today is the 256th day of the Hebrew civil. 256 mathematically has a square root of 16. And the Celtics could go ahead and get their 16th road win on top of it all. What else? That's 26 loss. 90. Nets can get their 90th. That's right. It's the 33rd playoff game. Nets can get the 90th postseason loss as a team. 90 sums to 33. It also sums to 87, 75, and 30. And today has 12 date numerology on the Gregorian. 12 sums to 87, 75, and 30. So there's a narrative here for Celtics. What I mentioned in Game 4, though, if Celtics were to lose Game 4 and they were to lose Game 5, Celtics coach, he would just continue to sit on 392 wins for his career, which is basically a reflection of 293. The Celtics would get their 293rd postseason loss as their coach sits on 392. And then Celtics would sit on 382 postseason wins all time. 382 is nothing more than a reflection of 283, which is the 61st prime number, and it being June 1st, written 6/1. In regards to the 3-2-1 for the Celtics coach, Nets could get their 12th postseason win and become 12-3 head-to-head against Celtics. 12-3, 21-3, 2-1-3, 1-2-3, anagrams of each other. 12 date numerology on the Gregorian. They get their 12th postseason head-to-head win against the Celtics. I don't know anything that sticks out to me with the Nets getting their 52nd win, though. 52-25. I don't know. Nothing really jumps at me. And, I don't know. Yeah, nothing really jumps a ton at me for the Nets. Really, it is the 20. Today does have 28 numerology. 20 sums to 156. It is the Nets' 156th postseason game. It is the 33rd game of the playoffs. 33 sums to 156. Like I said, they could have that connection with the 90, even the 66, because 33 sums to 156 and 66, and 90 sums to 33. Boston could be fighting here with a little bit, and they can make them become 66-90 for a postseason record. So let's see, 669. See if that's anything. No. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Nets could get upset again by the Celtics potentially. I just didn't see a whole lot for the 52 here for the Nets. And but let's look at their next game would be played on 6-3. If Celtics win this game, the next game would be played on 6-3. However, if Nets win this game, there isn't going to be a next game. So let's say if Nets were to upset, is there anything else that's more clearer in game 6? First thing that jumps out to me is it would be the 23rd day of the 9th month on the Hebrew Civil. 293 is the 52nd prime number. Maybe that's when the Nets pick up their 52nd win for the season. Maybe it's in game 6. That makes a little bit more sense, or at least it's something that jumps out at me. Is there like a 42 for the series to become 4-2? Not really. I think that's the only thing. If oh, it's also a day leaving 302 left, so they could come into the series 3-2 on a day leaving 302 left. If Celtics were to upset, I would say that might be why. Is because they might want to have Nets get their 52nd win on the 23rd day of the 9th month, the 52nd prime number. Alright, let's go back to today's date name. Let's go to Blazers and Nuggets. Alright, next game. This is the 34th game for the season, or for the playoffs. It's tied 2-2, so someone's going to become 3-2 or 2-3, either or. Doesn't really matter. So Blazers are definitely going to be playing a game 6. Blazers and Nuggets, just because it's tied. This game is very tricky because of that reason. And because, let's look at game 6. It'll be on the same day as the Nets and the Celtics if the Celtics were to upset. But only if they were to upset. But game 6 would be played on the 154th day of the Gregorian. And so Blazers, they can either get their 154th loss and then head into the next game on the 154th day, or they can get a win here and then get their 154th postseason loss as a team on the 154th day of the Gregorian year. So it can go either or. And same with the coach. Their coach, he can get his 541st all-time win, which is basically just an anagram of 145 or 154. So do the Blazers coach get his 541st all-time win in Game 5, and then in Game 6 on the 154th day, he sits on that 541 as Blazers get their 154th postseason? Or is it interchangeable? vice versa. Does Blazers get their 154th postseason loss in Game 5, and then they come into Game 6 on the 154th day, sit on that number as their coach gets his 541st win all time? So that's what makes it really tricky. And the Nuggets, too, in Game 6 has 50 date numerology. Do the Nuggets get their 50th win in Game 5 and head into Game 6 on a day with 50 date numerology? Or did the Nuggets lose in Game 5 and get their 50th win on a day with 50 date numerology? So both of these numbers here, the 541, the 154, and the 50 for the Nuggets, it's really, it can go either way. It's interchangeable. It doesn't have to be one or the other. What else? Let's go back to Game 5, June 1st. June 1st is the 80th day of the Hebrew Religious, and Nuggets could get their 80th postseason win as a team on this day. But they can also get their 28th loss for the season on a day with 28 date numerology for the Gregorian. But with that being said, Blazers can also get their 33rd loss for the season on a day with 28 date numerology. Basically how I showed up here with the 33rd game, the number 33 and the number 28. They share the 156 and the 141. So that could go either or. It's a real tough game to choose. Not a whole lot to go off of. 256 day, which has a square root of 16. Blazers could get their 16th road loss as Nuggets get their 80th postseason win. That's about as far as I got. Everything else could literally just be interchangeable from one game to the next, either in Game 5 or Game 6. It can happen either which direction. It is the 22nd postseason head-to-head matchup between these two. Nuggets could sit on 79 postseason wins. They don't have to get their 80th. They can sit on that 79, which is the 22nd prime number. So, and then also, if Nuggets do win this game, their coach would sit on 293 all-time losses. And Game 6 is going to be played on the 23rd day of the 9th month. 239, 293 anagrams of each other. So Nuggets coach could sit on this 293 as they get their 80th post, heading into Game 6 on the 23rd 9. And then it would set Blazers up to sit on that 154 as Nuggets sit on their 50th win, because they would get their 50th and they would get their 154. So tricky game. It goes either way. I wouldn't be surprised either way. But what it could be beneficial to is whoever wins Game 5, you can probably look to them to maybe lose in Game 6. So maybe that's something to watch for. Whoever takes Game 5 is probably not going to win Game 6. And then it'll go to Game 7. We'll see. But good luck on that one. Lakers and the Suns. We have a couple different narratives we can run with this one. Oh, actually, let's just start here back on June 1st. So June 1st is the 80th day on the Hebrew Religious. It's a day with 45 date numerology. Lakers come into this game with 45 wins for the season, and they can get their 46th win for the season on the 80th day of the Hebrew. 46 sums to 80. And it is a day with 48 date numerology on the Gregorian. Lakers coach, he can get his 448th all-time win, which looks like a 48. The series is 3-2-2-3. So basically, Lakers can up the series 3-2 as they get their 23rd road win. 23-32, reflections of each other. Suns would be 3-2. This is the 322nd all-time head-to-head matchup between these two. Interesting thing about Lakers is this is their 760th postseason game. Their next game is going to be their 761st. 761 is the 135th prime number. So there's a very real possibility that the Lakers would continue to sit on 135 all-time losses against the Suns, as the Suns sit on 135 postseason wins, and Lakers 761st postseason game if they win Game 5. So if Lakers win Game 5, they're most likely 99.9% sure they're probably winning Game 6. 261, the 135th prime. Suns would end their season with 135 postseason, as they sit on 135 all-time head-to-head wins against Lakers with the loss. For the Suns coach, if he loses this game, he gets his 292nd loss all time. And if he loses this game, he would potentially set him up to get his 293rd loss in Game 6. And we already talked about a similar scenario with the Nuggets, how the Nuggets coach can sit on that 293 for him heading into the next game on the 23rd day of the ninth month. Well, for the Suns coach, if they lose Game 5, it would set him up to potentially get his 293rd in Game 6, which is the 23rd day of the ninth month. And so there you go. Lakers take the series 4-2. Game 6 would be played on a day with 211 left in the Gregorian year, the 47th prime number. Lakers would be getting their 47th win for the season. As they do that, they'd be sitting on 32 losses, 32 sums to 50. It has 50 date numerology. It's a day leaving 302 left on the Hebrew religious. So it looks pretty strong for the Lakers to go ahead and win Game 5 and 6. But just in case, Suns want to win Game 5 and take it to a potential 7-game series. Game 5 or June 1st is the 21st day of the ninth month on the Hebrew Civil, 21-9. We just saw the Phoenix Suns beat the Los Angeles Lakers on Sunday with a total of 192 points. 192, 219, anagrams of each other. That day was when Suns coach sat on 291 all-time losses for his career, where he can continue to sit on 291 all-time losses on the 21st day of the ninth month, as the Suns become 29-10 at home for a season record with a win. 291, 291, 219. It is a day leaving 304 left on the Hebrew religious. This could be when Lakers get their 304th postseason loss as a team. Lakers could also get their 33rd loss for the season on a day with 28 date numerology. We already talked about how 28 and 33 both sum to 156 and 141. What else? I think that's about it. 554th all-time game for the coach for the Suns, as Suns get their 54th win for the season. It was his 553rd on Sunday, and they got their 53rd. Maybe it continues for the 54-54, potentially. It is the 256th day on the Hebrew Civil. 256 has a square root of 16. The Suns could get their 136th postseason win as a team, as they get their 136 all-time head-to-head win against the Lakers, which is the 16th triangular number. And we can bring this back to the number 33 as well. 16 sums to 33. Lakers would get their 33rd loss for the season. So if for whatever chance that the Suns actually do pull off this win, even though they're favored by 5 points, we know that stuff doesn't matter. Lakers have a really great narrative to win it in 6. I already showed you that. 47th win, 211 left, 47 prime, all that stuff. I already showed you that. But if for some reason the Suns win Game 5, we are looking at a Game 7. because the Lakers will win Game 6 in Los Angeles. And if we go to a Game 7, we're looking at it being played on June 5th, 6/5. This interests me a little bit because 6/5 is the same thing as 5/6, so 65 or 56, whatever way you want to look at it. Suns coach is one win away from his 263rd win all time. 263 is the 56th prime number. And the words Phoenix Suns sums to 56. So, I feel like he might at least get one more win, maybe, which would end them up in Game 7, 6-5-5-6, where he could potentially just sit on that number as the Lakers win it in 7. So there's always that narrative. Also, if the Suns do get their 136 all-time head-to-head win and their 136 postseason win, again, it would go to a Game 7 because I don't think the Suns would win in Los Angeles in Game 6. I'd be shocked if they do. But 130, I wouldn't be that shocked, but it would be. I'm not. I wouldn't be picking them most likely. 136 sums to 260 and 253. And Game 7 would be played on the 260th day of the Hebrew Civil, the 25th day of the third month on the Hebrew Religious. 136, 260, 253. So I feel like there's going to be at least maybe a Game 7. Or those of you who are taking the Lakers and you really want the Lakers to win in 6, just look at the potential possibility of a 7. Now, I'm not saying Lakers would lose in 7, but I'm just saying look to a potential of it actually being a Game 7 because there's numbers here for it. The 263, I mean, how many times are people going to talk about the number 56 and, the coronavirus? It's like every single game and fight and UFC fight or anything time a 56 popped up, everyone was pinpointing it. So why wouldn't the Phoenix Suns, who summed to 56, allow their coach to get his 263rd all time, the 56 prime? There's a possibility. Doesn't have to happen, but it's definitely there for it to happen if they want it to. And I'll leave you with one last thing. Suns some to 10 and 35. And Game 5 is the 35th playoff game. Suns could sit on those 10 losses as they get that 29th win. And how interesting would it be if the Suns did beat the Lakers in 7 and became 30-10 at home, because that's where Game 7 would be played. It would be played in Phoenix. They'd be 30-10, which means they would be 5 wins away to become 35-10 at home for the season, which would actually put them in the Western Conference Finals because they would win 5 additional more games at home, which would put them in the next series, the Western Conference Finals. But yeah, so there's both sides. But for all you Lakers guys out there, just focused on what I talked about. Game 6 for the Lakers, getting their 47th win. Let's go back to it. Game 6 right here on June 3rd, 211th left, the 47th prime number. Lakers, all they need to get is their 46th in Game 5, and then they can get their 47th in Game 6 in LA on a day leaving 211 left. So don't even worry, alright? Unless Suns actually do win Game 5, you might want to worry a little bit. But, alright, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you guys got value out of this. At the very least, you're able to see both sides, add to it, make your own judgment. I hope you guys win all your picks that you make, and I hope you guys cash out as much money as you want. Thanks for the support.